Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins, and trust me, this one is going to blow your mind. We're talking about the 2002 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, a modern-day treasure that has stunned collectors and investors around the world with a staggering current market value of $11 million. That's right, a single 2002 Lincoln penny without a mint mark, something most of us would never give a second look, has become one of the most extraordinary finds in American coinage history. Now, before you rush to check your coin jar, let's take a closer look at how and why this penny became so valuable. The Lincoln penny has been a cornerstone of American currency for over a century, ever since it was first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, this iconic coin features Lincoln's portrait on the obverse, or the front, and over the years, it has gone through several design and metal composition changes. But it's the rare errors and minting oddities that make some of these pennies worth a fortune. The 2002 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny is a perfect example of that. Normally, pennies struck in 2002 were produced at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. The ones from Denver carry a small D mint mark just below the date, while those from San Francisco, the proof coins, bear an S. However, the coins made at the Philadelphia mint typically have no mint mark. So, what makes this particular 2002 no-mint mark penny worth $11 million if so many were made without a mint mark? Here's where things get fascinating. While most Philadelphia pennies are ordinary and worth just 1 cent, a very small handful were struck with an extraordinary minting error that went completely unnoticed for years. These rare coins were minted using an experimental dye that produced an unusual texture and finish on the coin's surface, as well as slight doubling in Lincoln's features and the lettering. Experts believe that this test dye was never meant to be used for circulation coins, but a few escaped the mint and entered the public domain, making them among the rarest modern errors ever discovered. Imagine that, a penny struck under experimental conditions, mistakenly released to the public, and today valued at $11 million. It sounds like something out of a dream, but it's a reality that numismatists, professional coin collectors, have verified. In fact, the coin's authenticity has been confirmed through extensive analysis by leading grading companies such as PCGS and NGC, who verified the unique characteristics that make this coin so extraordinary. Now, let's break down exactly what to look for if you think you might have one of these rare treasures sitting in your change jar or coin collection. The first thing to observe is the coin's overall appearance. Unlike a regular 2002 penny, which has a smooth, standard copper-plated zinc finish, the rare 2002 no-mint mark era penny exhibits a slightly matte or satin-like surface, almost resembling the finish found on special mint sets from earlier years. When viewed under magnification, you'll notice slight doubling on the words, "In God We Trust," particularly around the letters G and T. Additionally, Lincoln's eye and the bridge of his nose may appear slightly thicker or shadowed due to this doubling effect. Another telltale sign is on the reverse side of the coin, the side featuring the Lincoln Memorial. Here, the steps of the memorial might appear less defined, and some examples even show faint extra lines near the columns. These subtle features are what differentiate this ultra-rare coin from the billions of regular 2002 pennies produced that year. Let's talk about how this coin reached its incredible value of $11 million. When the first verified specimens surfaced at a private auction, it shocked even the most seasoned collectors. Initially expected to sell for perhaps a few $1,000s, the bidding war quickly escalated as experts realized its rarity and historical importance. In the end, a private collector paid an astonishing $11 million for the coin, setting a new record for a modern Lincoln penny. The combination of its mysterious origin, rarity, and perfect preservation made it an irresistible piece of numismatic history. But why would someone pay that much for a penny? It's all about rarity and historical significance. Coins like this represent not just money but a piece of the U.S. mint's history. They symbolize mistakes that slip through the cracks of perfection, making them incredibly valuable to those who understand their story. The coin collecting community thrives on rarity, and when a coin like this emerges, it becomes a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for collectors to own something truly unique. Let's take a quick look at the technical details. The 2002 Lincoln penny is composed of 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper plating, with a diameter of 19.05 millimeters and a weight of about 2.5 grams. It's part of the Lincoln Memorial Reverse Design Series, which ran from 1959 until 2008. The obverse features the portrait of Abraham Lincoln facing right, with the inscriptions, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the year 2002. The reverse features the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo, with the denomination 1 cent and United States of America above it. Now, what sets the 2002 no mint mark era apart is that some examples have been found struck slightly off-center, with the rim appearing thicker on one side, or showing signs of doubling in the lettering. These are known as doubled die, or die clash, errors, and depending on the clarity and condition, they can also fetch thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Though not all reach the legendary 11 million mark, collectors also pay close attention to the condition or grade of the coin. A coin graded MS-70, meaning mint state and in perfect condition, can multiply its value many times over. Even a tiny scratch or fingerprint can lower its grade and reduce its value dramatically. That's why coin preservation is crucial if you think you might have a rare penny in your possession. Always handle coins by their edges and consider storing them in protective holders to prevent damage. Another interesting fact about the 2002 no mint mark penny is that it marked the beginning of a transitional period for the Lincoln series. By this time, the U.S. Mint was shifting toward more automated quality control systems, but some experimental dyes and finishes were still being tested. This may explain how a few rare examples with unusual finishes slipped through the cracks. There are also reports that a small number of 2002 pennies were struck on planchets intended for foreign coins, meaning the blanks used were of slightly different metals or weights. If verified, those specimens could be worth millions as well, especially if they show off-metal characteristics, such as lighter color, unusual luster, or weight deviations. So, how can you check your own coins to see if you might have a valuable 2002 no mint mark Lincoln penny? First, gather all your 2002 pennies and examine them under a bright light. Look carefully at the date and the area beneath it where a mint mark would appear. If there is no D or S, you have a Philadelphia penny, but that's just the beginning. Look at the texture and color. Does it appear more matte or satin-like than usual? Then use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe to check for doubling in the lettering, particularly "In God We Trust" and "Liberty." Next, weigh the coin using a precise digital scale. Regular 2002 pennies should weigh around 2.5 grams, but if yours is lighter or heavier by a noticeable margin, that could indicate a rare planchet error. Finally, if you believe your coin shows any of these rare traits, do not clean it. Cleaning can destroy its value. Instead, take clear, close-up photos and reach out to a professional grading service such as PCGS, NGC, or Annex for authentication. Now, let's talk about the broader lesson from this story. The 2002 no mint mark Lincoln penny teaches us that modern coins can still hold incredible value. Many people assume that only old coins from the 1800s or early 1900s are worth big money, but the reality is, even coins minted in the 2000s can be worth millions if they have the right combination of rarity, error, and condition. It's proof that valuable treasures can still be hiding in plain sight, even in your pocket change. Some collectors even speculate that more of these rare 2002 pennies might still be out there, waiting to be discovered. Since the error coins were never officially recalled and their distribution was random, it's entirely possible that someone could find one in circulation, a coin jar, or a forgotten collection. Welcome back everyone to another exciting episode here on the channel, where we dive deep into the world of rare and valuable coins that could be sitting right in your pocket change without you even realizing it. Today, we're going to talk about one truly fascinating and highly sought-after coin, the 1996 no mint mark Lincoln penny. This ordinary-looking 1-cent coin could be worth an incredible amount of money, with some examples currently valued at an astonishing $52,937. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny from 1996, that most people would overlook, has become one of the most surprising treasures in the world of coin collecting. So, if you've got a jar of coins sitting somewhere at home, or maybe a collection you inherited, make sure to check your pennies carefully. Because the 1996 no-mint mark Lincoln penny could be your ticket to a small fortune. Let's start by going back to where it all began, the history of the Lincoln penny. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it was the first regular-issue U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure instead of Lady Liberty. Since then, the Lincoln penny has gone through several design changes, metal compositions, and mint mark variations. By 1996, the United States Mint was producing billions of pennies every year from three main locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Typically, coins from Denver carry a small D mint mark, those from San Francisco carry an S, and those from Philadelphia either have a P or, traditionally, no mint mark at all. So, a penny with no mint mark usually means it was struck in Philadelphia. However, not every Philadelphia penny is special, but certain ones, like the 1996 no mint mark Lincoln penny, have become rare because of unique errors, exceptional conditions, or limited surviving examples in pristine grades. Now, what makes the 1996 no mint mark penny so valuable? It all comes down to a combination of rarity, condition, and collector demand. Let's break this down. First, let's talk about the rarity. In 1996, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 6 billion pennies, but most of them entered circulation, meaning they've been scratched, worn, and handled countless times over the decades. Finding a 1996 no mint mark penny in perfect, uncirculated, or high mint state condition is exceptionally difficult. The few that exist in flawless grades, especially those graded MS68 or higher, can command massive prices at auctions. One of the key reasons these coins become so valuable is their mint state grade. Coins are graded on a 70-point scale, known as the Sheldon scale. A penny graded as MS60 is uncirculated but may show some marks or imperfections. But a penny graded MS68 or higher is nearly perfect, a true gem for collectors. In the case of the 1996 no mint mark Lincoln penny, the record price of $52,937 was achieved for one such coin that was graded in an exceptional condition by a professional grading service. It was virtually flawless, with bright, original luster, sharp details, and no visible blemishes. Another factor is strike quality, the sharpness of the coin's design as it was struck by the dies. Sometimes, a coin with a strong strike and mirror-like fields can attract significant attention from collectors. There's also the historical interest factor. Even though 1996 might seem relatively modern compared to early 1900s coins, collectors of Lincoln cents seek to complete entire date and mint mark sets, from 1909 all the way to the present. Having a 1996 no mint mark penny in superb condition fills an important slot in that long timeline. Now, let's take a closer look at the design of this coin. On the obverse, or the front, you'll find the familiar bust of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. The word Liberty appears to Lincoln's left, and the date, 1996, is placed to the right side of the portrait. If your coin lacks any letter underneath the date, then it's a no mint mark penny, indicating it was struck in Philadelphia. On the reverse side, you'll see the Lincoln Memorial, a design that was introduced in 1959 and continued until 2008. Inside the memorial, if you look closely with a magnifying glass, you can even see a tiny representation of Lincoln's statue seated inside, which was a remarkable detail for a coin of this size. The words, United States of America, appear across the top. E pluribus unum sits above the memorial, and the denomination, 1 cent, is below. Now, let's discuss the composition. The 1996 Lincoln penny is made of 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper. This copper-plated zinc composition was introduced in 1982 to replace the original bronze composition that had been used for decades. Though lighter and cheaper to produce, The zinc core is more prone to corrosion and damage, which makes finding perfectly preserved examples even harder. Collectors often ask, how can I tell if my 1996 no mint mark penny is valuable? Well, there are a few things you should check for. First, examine the coin's overall condition. Does it still have its original luster, or does it look dull and worn? Are there scratches, nicks, or discoloration? If your coin looks clean, shiny, and crisp, almost like it just left the mint, you might have a higher grade example. Next, look closely for any errors or varieties. Some 1996 pennies may have double die obverse errors, where the design elements appear slightly doubled. Doubling is usually visible on the date, the word Liberty, or the phrase, "In God We Trust." Error coins like these can add significant value, especially when authenticated by grading companies like PCGS or NGC. Other error types that collectors look for include off-center strikes, die cracks, die clashes, and even plating errors where the copper layer didn't bond evenly to the zinc core. Any unique or dramatic error can make your penny stand out and skyrocket in price. It's also worth mentioning that coin values can fluctuate over time. As the demand for Lincoln cents increases, and as fewer high-quality examples remain available, prices tend to rise. So even if your 1996 no mint mark penny isn't worth tens of thousands today, it could still appreciate in the future if preserved properly. If you want to find out the true value of your coin, it's best to have it professionally graded. Professional grading not only verifies the authenticity of your coin but also provides a certified condition, which helps determine market value. Major grading companies include the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, and the Numismatic Guarantee Company, NGC. You can also look at auction results from major numismatic houses. Over the years, pristine 1996 no mint mark Lincoln pennies have sold for thousands of dollars, and the most exceptional examples have reached the jaw-dropping figure of $52,937. Let's imagine for a moment finding one of these rare coins in your own change. It's possible. Many collectors and even casual hobbyists have discovered valuable coins in their everyday pocket change, coin rolls from banks, or jars of old coins stored away for years. So, how can you improve your chances of finding one? The best way is to search through coin rolls from your local bank. Order boxes of penny rolls and check each coin carefully. Look for coins with no mint mark, sharp details, and minimal wear. Use a magnifying glass or coin loop to inspect for doubling or unusual features. Also, keep your coins clean and safe, but don't clean them with chemicals or polish, as that can damage the surface and reduce the value dramatically. Instead, handle them by the edges and store them in coin flips or holders to prevent damage. Now, let's talk about why the 1996 penny, in particular, has captured so much attention among collectors. For one, it marks a point in U.S. coinage history where modern minting technology was evolving, and quality control was improving, yet a small number of exceptional coins still stood out. It's a perfect blend of modern rarity and collectible charm. The Lincoln Cent series is one of the most collected coin series in American history. Nearly every coin collector, from beginner to expert, starts with Lincoln Cents. The 1996 no mint mark penny represents a bridge between the older, more traditional cents of the mid-20th century and the modern era of U.S. coinage. Even though billions were minted, only a handful in flawless condition have survived, which is why the best examples fetch such massive sums. It's a reminder that rarity isn't always about mintage numbers. Sometimes it's about survival and condition. Let's look at an example. Suppose you have a 1996 no mint mark penny graded MS68 read by PCGS. That coin could easily sell for tens of thousands of dollars at auction. If it's one of the top graded examples, with full red luster and no visible flaws, collectors will compete fiercely for it. Welcome back everyone to another exciting episode where we dive deep into the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins that could be hiding right in your pocket change. Today, we're going to talk about one of the most mysterious and talked about coins in U.S. coin collecting history, the 1982 no mint mark Lincoln penny. You may think of it as just another regular 1-cent coin, but this little copper beauty could actually be worth as much as $42,893 today. Yes, you heard that right, a single penny, worth nearly $43,000. So, grab your magnifying glass and stick around till the end, because you might just have one of these valuable coins sitting in your jar of spare change. Let's start by going back to the year 1982, a year that marked a major turning point for the Lincoln cent. The United States Mint made a huge change that year, switching the penny's metal composition from 95% copper and 5% zinc to a cheaper, lighter version made of 97.5% zinc and just 2.5% copper plating. This change was made because copper prices were rising, and it was becoming too expensive to produce pennies that were actually worth more in metal than their face value. So, 1982 became a unique year in coinage history, because during this single year, both copper and zinc pennies were produced, and that's where the story of the rare 1982 no-mint mark penny begins. Now, if you look closely at a 1982 penny, you'll notice something interesting. Some of them have a D mint mark below the date, meaning they were struck at the Denver Mint. But others have no mint mark at all. Those were made in Philadelphia. Most of the no mint mark 1982 pennies are common, but there's one special variety that stands out: the 1982 no mint mark small date copper penny. This is the one that collectors are going crazy over. It's the combination of the small date design, the copper composition, and the missing mint mark that makes it so rare and valuable. To understand why, we need to talk about the difference between the small date and large date designs. In 1982, the Mint used two slightly different date styles on the Lincoln cent. On the large date version, the numbers in the date are thicker and bolder, while on the small date version, the digits are more delicate and evenly aligned. One easy way to tell them apart is by looking at the number 2. In 1982, on the small date, the top of the 2 is level with the top of the 8, while on the large date, the 2 sits a little higher. Another clue is the shape of the 8. It looks more even and symmetrical on the small date. Spotting this difference takes a bit of practice, but it's the first step in identifying whether you have one of these rare coins. But here's where things get really interesting. Most 1982 small date pennies were made from the new zinc composition, not copper. The rare one is the 1982 no mint mark small date made of copper. Only a few of these were ever struck before the mint completely switched over to zinc planchets. So, if you happen to have one of these copper versions, you're holding something truly special. Now, how do you tell if your penny is copper or zinc? There's a simple trick you can do right at home. A copper penny weighs about 3.11 grams, while a zinc penny weighs around 2.5 grams. All you need is a digital scale that can measure in grams. Place your 1982 penny on the scale. If it reads 3.11 grams, it's copper. If it's 2.5 grams, it's zinc. That difference in weight is the key to determining whether your coin might be one of the valuable ones. Collectors and experts have confirmed that very few genuine 1982 no mint mark small date copper pennies exist, and when they appear at auctions, they sell for incredible prices. In fact, one was sold for over $42,893 in pristine condition, a record that stunned collectors around the world. And since these coins can still be found in circulation or in old coin jars, it's worth checking every 1982 penny you come across. Now, let's talk a little about the coin's design. The obverse, or front side, features the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, which has been on the penny since 1909. You'll see the word Liberty to the left of Lincoln's profile and the date 1982 to the right. If there's no letter below the date, it means it was struck in Philadelphia, and that's what we want to see for this rare variety. On the reverse side, you'll find the image of the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo, along with the words United States of America and E Pluribus Unum. The simple yet powerful design has become an American classic. But here's the thing, not every 1982 no mint mark penny is valuable. Most of them are worth only 1 cent or a few cents in circulated condition. The key is finding one that's the small date copper version in excellent, uncirculated condition. Even a regular small date zinc penny in mint state condition might bring a few dollars, but the copper version, that's the jackpot. And to make things even trickier, there are also 1982D small date and large date varieties, in both copper and zinc. That means there are actually 7 known types of 1982 pennies, and collectors are always searching for the rare 8th variety. Let's go over those 7 known types so you can better understand what to look for. We have the 1982 large date copper, the 1982 large date zinc, the 1982 small date copper, the 1982 small date zinc, the 1982D large date copper, the 1982D large date zinc, and the 1982D small date zinc. The missing link is the 1982D small date copper, and just one genuine example of that has ever been confirmed. That one coin alone sold for over $18,000 when it was discovered. But our focus today is the 1982 no mint mark small date copper penny, which currently sits at the top of the value chart at an astonishing $42,893. Now you might be wondering, how did this coin become so rare? The answer lies in the transition period between copper and zinc planchets. In 1982, as the mint began phasing out copper cents and switching to zinc, a few copper blanks accidentally got mixed in with the new zinc ones at the Philadelphia Mint. These copper planchets were used to strike a small number of small date pennies without mint marks, resulting in this rare variety. Since it was an unintentional mix-up, very few were ever made, and even fewer survived in top condition. If you're lucky enough to find one, the next step is authentication. Because there are so many 1982 penny varieties, it's essential to have your coin graded and certified by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. These companies will verify its composition, strike type, and authenticity, and then give it a grade on a scale from 1 to 70. Coins graded above MS65 are considered gem uncirculated, and that's where the big money lies. A 1982 no mint mark small date copper penny graded MS67 or higher could easily reach or even surpass that $42,893 mark at auction. Let's imagine for a moment you're sorting through your old coin collection, or maybe a jar of pennies your grandparents saved over the years. You pick up a shiny 1982 penny with no mint mark, weigh it, and it reads 3.11 grams. You check the date style, and it's a small date. Congratulations, you might just be holding one of the most valuable modern pennies in U.S. history. It's like finding a treasure hiding in plain sight. Even collectors who have been in the hobby for decades are still fascinated by the 1982 penny varieties because they represent one of the most complex and interesting transitions in U.S. mint history. The mix of copper and zinc, small and large dates, and mint mark differences make 1982 a year that every serious coin collector pays attention to. Now you might ask, how do you preserve your coin if you think you've found a valuable one? The best thing to do is handle it carefully by the edges and avoid touching the faces with your fingers. Oils from your skin can damage the surface. Place it in a protective coin flip or a plastic holder designed for pennies. Do not attempt to clean the coin, as cleaning can significantly reduce its value. Once it's properly stored, consider sending it to a grading service for evaluation. Some collectors have even turned coin hunting into a full-time hobby. Searching through rolls of pennies from the bank can sometimes yield incredible finds. Many 1982 pennies are still in circulation today, and while the odds are slim, there's always a chance that one of those rolls might contain the rare copper small date variety. And who wouldn't want to turn a single cent into over $40,000? The story of the 1982 no mint mark Lincoln penny is a reminder that even the smallest coins can hold big secrets and bigger value. It's a piece of history that combines a production change, a minting error, and sheer luck into one fascinating collectible. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating and valuable coins in the Lincoln penny series, the 1972 no mint mark Lincoln cent. This coin, while it might look like just another old penny at first glance, could actually be worth a life-changing amount of money. Believe it or not, some rare varieties of the 1972 no mint mark Lincoln penny have sold for up to $78,922 in top condition. So if you've got a jar of old pennies lying around, you might want to pay very close attention. One of them could make you rich. Let's start with a little history to set the scene. The 1972 Lincoln penny belongs to the iconic Lincoln cent series that began all the way back in 1909, marking the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. This series replaced the Indian head cent and introduced the beloved design by sculptor Victor David Brenner, featuring the profile of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, or front side, of the coin. On the reverse, at that time, you had the two wheat ears framing the words 1 cent, symbolizing prosperity and agricultural growth in America. But by 1959, to celebrate Lincoln's 150th birthday, the reverse design was changed to the Lincoln Memorial, which remained until 2008. Now, when we get to 1972, the Lincoln Memorial design was still in use. The coin was made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, weighing about 3.11 grams. It measures 19 millimeters in diameter, and like most Lincoln cents, it features no reeded edge, just a plain smooth rim. Most of these 1972 pennies were minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia mint coins, of course, are the ones without a mint mark, the no mint mark pennies that we're talking about today. Here's where things get interesting. The 1972 no mint mark Lincoln penny is famous because of a striking variety known as the 1972 double die obverse, one of the most dramatic and desirable double die coins ever produced by the U.S. Mint. This coin shows incredibly strong doubling on the front of the coin, particularly on the inscriptions, "Liberty, in God We Trust," and the date, 1972. When viewed under magnification or even with the naked eye, the doubling is so bold and obvious that collectors go crazy for it. Now, doubling happens during the die creation process. In simple terms, a double die occurs when the coin's design is impressed twice onto the die but not perfectly aligned, creating a doubled image on the coins struck from that die. In 1972, this was a major issue at the Philadelphia Mint, leading to several varieties of double die pennies being released into circulation before anyone noticed. The most dramatic of these, known as the 1972 double die obverse variety 1, is the one that can be worth tens of thousands of dollars. Out of the hundreds of millions of 1972 pennies struck, only a small number display this dramatic doubling. That's what makes them so valuable. According to coin experts and auction records, regular 1972 no mint mark Lincoln cents are worth face value if circulated, just 1 cent. But if you happen to have that rare double die version, especially in mint state condition, you could be sitting on a fortune. Let's talk about value for a moment, because this is where collectors' eyes light up. Common 1972 pennies that are worn and circulated are only worth around 1 cent to maybe 5 cents, depending on condition. But a 1972 double die obverse penny graded in high mint state, particularly MS65 red or better, can fetch thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars. In one famous case, a pristine 1972 no mint mark double die obverse penny sold for an astonishing $78,922 at auction. That's right, a single penny turned into nearly $80,000. Now you might be wondering, how can I tell if my 1972 penny is the rare one? Excellent question, and here's what you need to look for. Grab a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. Focus on the inscriptions on the obverse side, the front with Lincoln's portrait. Look carefully at "In God We Trust" along the top edge, "Liberty" on the left side, and the date, 1972. If you see clear and strong doubling on all these areas, not just a shadow or slight blur, you could be holding a genuine double die variety. But be careful, there are several minor varieties of doubling that are much less valuable. The main double die variety that's worth serious money shows very bold doubling visible without any advanced tools. Other minor double dies from 1972 might still be worth a few dollars to collectors, but only the strongest one, variety 1, commands those sky-high prices. Now, let's talk about the different color designations you might see when dealing with Lincoln cents. When a coin grading company like PCGS or NGC grades your penny, they'll describe it as either BN brown, RB red brown, or RD red, depending on the amount of original mint luster left on the coin. The more original reddish copper color a coin retains, the higher its grade and the greater its value. For example, an MS-65 brown double-die penny might sell for a few $1,000s, while the same coin-graded MS-65 red could fetch over $15,000. And if you reach the MS-67 red level, that's when the price soars into the tens of thousands, even up to that record-breaking $78,922 mark. The 1972 no-mint mark Lincoln penny remains one of the most sought-after modern varieties among collectors. It's not only about rarity but also about visibility. This doubling is so bold that once you see it, you'll never forget it. Many collectors describe it as one of the most dramatic and eye-catching double dies ever struck by the U.S. Mint. Now let's discuss a bit about the minting process and why these kinds of errors happen. In the early 1970s, the minting technology wasn't as precise as it is today. Dies were created by pressing a master design hub into a blank die multiple times to transfer the image. If the die shifted slightly between impressions, you'd end up with two slightly offset images. That's how a double die was born. Every coin struck from that flawed die would carry the same doubling, which is why these errors appear in groups rather than one-offs. But because mint workers often replace damaged or misaligned dies quickly, very few coins from those defective dies made it into circulation, making them rare today. Interestingly, after the 1972 double die was discovered, the U.S. Mint took steps to tighten quality control and reduce the chances of such errors happening again. But still, other double die cents have appeared over the years, like the 1955, 1969s, and 1983 varieties, but the 1972 example remains one of the most recognizable and collectible. You might be curious where these valuable 1972 pennies show up. Most were originally found in circulation, pocket change, or rolls of pennies from banks. Some collectors even found them in mint sets. So yes, that jar of old pennies you keep in your kitchen or attic might just be hiding a small fortune. The thrill of coin hunting is that anyone, anywhere, can stumble upon a rare variety purely by chance. Now, let's break down the value ranges a bit more clearly so you can get an idea of what yours might be worth. A regular 1972 penny in average circulated condition, no doubling, just a normal coin, is worth 1 cent. If it's in uncirculated condition, maybe $1 to $3. But if it's the double-dyed verse variety one, even a circulated example can sell for $100 to $300. An uncirculated one jumps to $500 to $2,000, and high-end mint state examples range from $5,000 to $20,000. Then, at the very top, those ultra-gem, near-perfect MS-67 red examples, you hit that legendary price tag of $78. $9.22. That's why coin collectors across the world are still searching rolls of 1972 pennies hoping to find that gem. It's like striking gold in your spare change. And even if you don't find the top-tier double die, the experience of coin hunting is rewarding in itself. You learn history, discover minting quirks, and appreciate the artistry behind every cent. Let's take a moment to talk about how to protect and preserve these coins if you happen to find one. First and foremost, never clean your coin. Cleaning might make it look shiny, but it destroys its numismatic value. Collectors and grading services prefer coins in their natural state, even if they appear slightly dirty or tarnished. Store your coin in a protective holder, like a mylar flip or an airtight capsule, to prevent further oxidation.